All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Chouteau County Library Board of Trustees April meeting. Please be sure to sign the guest list and grab an agenda if you haven't already. Winona, you are online and visible. I will call this meeting to order at 12:01. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? Okay, I, in abundance of caution, would like to table both action items today. Due to our meeting agenda not being posted as it previously has been. In more than one place. It was posted at the library, but not on our website. So I just want to be cautious and keep our action items or table our action items for a later date. I'm asking for a vote for that in order to follow Robert's rules correctly. So could I have a motion to table our action items for our next meeting? We will still discuss these items today, but we'll vote on them at a later date. So that would be our consent agenda and our director goals.
I move that we table the action items which consist of the consent agenda and the board director goals until the next meeting in May.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second that.
Is there any discussion in regards to this?
What is your thought on the controversy?
I just want to be cautious that our public has been able to see our agenda and all of the action items that are present on it to follow open meeting laws.
Okay.
I would like to make a recommendation to
Yeah,
that too, is, has it been, this is a question first, has it been posted in the post office with the city agenda and the school agenda meetings
It normally is.
behind the glass doors?
Yes.
Okay,
I was at MLA and then I had a dentist appointment Monday morning, so I forgot to take it over there.
I think that would be very helpful to show that the other public meetings are all public meetings.
Yeah, and
are
that's where it
posted.
is normally posted.
I'm glad to hear that.
So I also want to make a comment. I don't want this to ever happen again. So Emily, if you're not able to do the posting, I would tell you that you need to delegate that and get it on the website at the very least.
Yes, this is the first time that this has happened.
And I'm happy to
So,
hear that,
yeah.
but it shouldn't have happened this time.
Right.
Okay. Just wanted to be clear.
All right, thank you. Is there any public comment in regards to the moving of our action items? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we table our action items until our main meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Kim, I didn't hear a vote.
Sorry, I for
Okay, and so that, and then Nona, I didn't hear a vote either, and I need to,
You hear me now? Yes, I vote yay.
so that passed. All right, and now we're moving into public comment items on the agenda. Please step up to the microphone if we have one, or just closer to this up here. State your full name, please, and remember that you have 3 minutes to complete your comments to us. Anybody online? All right. Seeing as there is no public comment, we will move into our consent agenda for discussion. Is there any discussion over our March meeting minutes, the financial reports at all?
Madam Chair, I would
Yes,
like to
please.
bring notice to 0.6 item 2. I'm sure this was just a typo because at the end of the minutes, I see it's correct, but it says the next meeting will be April 30th. And I'm assuming that is referring to our meeting. Am I correct in that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat, please?
Yep. So item 6, number 2.
I think it's staff meetings.
That's for the all staff.
That's for all
Oh,
staff. Thank you.
got it.
Thanks for that. I looked at that a couple of times and wasn't sure because at the end it does say correctly. So thank you. for
Perfect,
that
thank you,
correction.
Lisa. keeping a close eye. Any other discussions or edits? Or corrections that we could look into? Or any questions about our financials?
Madam Chair, I had one other question. I'm
Yes, please.
assuming the answer to this is about the water. We discussed that last month.
Mhm.
And last month there was a Fort Benton City water, and this month there's two again. Was it just the timing of the billing again?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, because there's no Geraldine. And I think last month there was Geraldine twice or something, because there was something.
Two,
twice.
yeah, and I did look at Fort Benton's last month and it showed there, but I know just from personal experience that they're not always consistent.
Mhm.
And then when the courthouse gets and pays them, that can further complicate it.
Mhm. Okay, any other questions or corrections?
Well, I guess I do. On 530 rent, it's Great American Financial Services, which is a monthly lease with the Big Sandy library, and what is that?
That's all. Emily, would you like to answer that one?
That's the copy machine lease for the
that's
Big
right.
Sandy Library.
Oh, Great American Financial, okay,
That is.
okay. It's interesting, that's what they call themselves, huh? Huh,
I think it goes through, because we have a copy machine lease and our goes through Wells Fargo. So I think
Oh.
that it goes through a financial service if you have a lease,
oh,
because it's a Great Falls company, preferred office equipment. So I think the actual lease goes through some sort of an
Oh.
online,
okay,
yeah,
thank you.
that's my guess.
Okay.
And I noticed that the hotspots telephones were reduced as you suggested. So how is that working?
Fine,
Good.
yes. I
People
will,
are getting what they need and so much.
well, we're not checking any out right now to
Okay.
anyone.
They're just
Even the
with the-
two or whatever that are available.
And I don't know why that hasn't been canceled. I've been trying to contact the T-Mobile to get those, and that hasn't been taken off yet, but it's very hard to get a hold of an actual person.
So I have another question. It shows that you paid me 51.62. Did you give me a check?
I do not send out checks.
Oh.
I submit claims to the courthouse and she sends out checks from the courthouse, so,
I have never received it.
okay, so that's Diana Absher at the courthouse.
So are you telling me that I need to go check with her?
I can email her and follow up with that.
Would you mind? Because I don't have her email.
She replaced Cheryl Scott. Do you
I
know them?
no,
Okay.
no, I don't. Well, maybe I do. From way back, but
She's our financial clerk at the county.
yeah.
I think she used to work at the bank and then.
Yeah, I've never gotten a check, so.
What's that?
That's where I know her from.
Yep.
Yeah.
She took our sewing class once. Were you in it? And
All right, any further?
Could you copy me on that
Oh,
email?
I just sent it.
Oh,
Copy.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't, okay, but then if there needs to be further communication, I'll have her email and I can do it directly.
Alrighty, any further questions, corrections, or additions to our consent agenda? All right, we'll move into branch reports. Sammy Jo, would you like to start today since we're here with you?
So for Geraldine, our themes for March were St. Patrick's Day, Women's History, new books. I had a pop into a good book display, which was books made into movies, and Easter. For projects, I have just been working on getting things ready for summer reading, and I'm having a pretty robust group, so I've just been. That's all I have.
Thank you, Sammy Jo. Is Big Sandy available?
I am. Can you hear me?
Hi, Darlene. Yes, we can.
The library celebrated Read Across America with events promoting love reading among the children and families, story time with Dr. Seuss books. In March, we had on display Women's History Month, highlighting achievements of the influential women, and we had that all the women on the windows, and that's and St. Patrick's stuff. And that was my month, and we're gearing up for summer reading.
Thank you, Darlene. And then for Benton.
Fort Benton themes and displays included St. Patrick's Day, Ireland and Scotland, Women's History Month, the Iditarod, Lions and Sheep, Disability Awareness Month. Projects included starting the book stop and checkout at the Golden Age Center. Just part of expanding services under the strategic plan. We hosted our spring book sale on the first day of spring, and we restarted Lego Club, which has had a lot of participants, and those are on display throughout the time. Yeah.
Thank you, Emily. The display was to pop in on Friday and see it. It was awesome. We'll move into your direct report if you're ready.
So the beginning, which is going to be a standing item, is the board goals for the director. Staff engagement and communication. I have continued with my regular twice a month site visits that I have done all along, and have met with Darlene Klein via Zoom last month after our last meeting. That will keep going moving forward. Those are good visits. I'm able to talk to the public and make myself available. And then collection management and team involvement. I have been asking for the branches to set aside books that they feel no longer have a place to be housed in their libraries, to see if we need to move those around. And then we will be watching state Zoom at our meeting next Thursday on the life cycle of an item. So that talks about bringing it in, how long it stays, what you look for, and to bring it out. So we will be working on that. MLA review, I included on this sheet what the actual financial cost ended up being. It ended up being a little bit less than what I had projected in the budget last year. Carolyn ended up not going at all, and I had budgeted for that. And both Sammy Jo and Maren decided to go only for one day instead of for the whole conference. So that was less money for that. Are there any questions on the financial part of it before I go into the next part? So, I attended MLA for all 3 days. Wednesday morning was the CPR AED training. We're gonna get that AED working with the foundation or Montanans for Libraries. They will come and mount that. So it was the best CPR training that I have ever been to. The presenter was very engaging, and it just went really fast. It was really great. The afternoon I did go to the trustee meeting that they held, and I have some notes from that. I don't want to go through all my notes, but programming sessions that I went to included them creating a memory cafe, which is programming geared to older adults with dementia or Alzheimer's or traumatic brain injury and their caregivers, which gave me some ideas to hopefully maybe start to incorporate in Fort Benton. One called We Have the Eats, which is food programming in the library. Like to focus on tweens and teens for that programming. We got a telescope. All 3 branches got a telescope. So I went on the session on how to use that and get that set up and ready. So programming for all ages, including programming at the library, plus for folks to be able to take that out. And the democracy projects for adults. Sammy Jo has been doing the democracy project here for a couple of years, which is geared towards teens, but the Humanities Montana is wanting to expand that into adult programming, which I think would be great. Leadership. Supervision sessions that I went to. Like I said before, the first one was that trustee session. Their heading was, what is the key question for boards? And the main takeaway was understanding the law governing libraries. I went to policy creation and implementation, which talked about following the law and then responding to policy questions. Again, the legal implications. The two main things that I think have been discussed by the trustee board, but not looked at yet, are there's the policy on policies and then a general complaint policy. So we'd have the policy on how to put in a book specifically about, or not a book, a complaint about book selection, but not just complaints in general. And so Chris Goss had a couple of examples on that, and then talked about barring patrons. I went to a session about privacy audits, which is how you're handling all sensitive information in the library. From making sure your computers are secure to how long you keep your library cards if someone is left and what you do with them after that. And then I finished up. Susie McIntyre, who was the director at the Great Falls Library, did a session on positive supervision, and talks about the culture and follow through of your library system in general, but then also your workplace culture. So we are going to do a debrief at the staff meeting next Thursday, where we will all share with each other, because we tried to go to a lot of different sessions so we could get a lot of information. So we will be going through that.
I do have a question. I mean, we've talked about this before in regard to the AED grants. Have you been able to help staff find any grants so that the other branches can have an AED, or is that something we're still?
I talked to Bruce Newell. He was the one that had spearheaded that initial
Right.
round, and I'm going to be in contact with him. He said that while they may not do a whole big sweep like they did before, he will connect me to the organization that did provide that initial funding, and is hopeful that they will want to do that.
We haven't had that conversation for that, so I appreciate that update.
I do have a question on these now. What I experienced, that the batteries are not long life and they're the expensive part of it. So are there grants that would replace those?
I will have to look into that.
Okay.
So I have a question, I want to make sure I got this. So they're recommending a policy on complaints other than book content?
Yes,
Complaints that
because
involve-
we already have a policy on how you can request for reconsideration of books. Like, we already have a policy that deals directly with that.
Right, I thought so.
Yes.
Okay, so this is on complaints like about maybe an employee or what?
Yeah.
Can you give us
Just any
Just the
general
bathrooms, not
complaint
anything that somebody
Yeah.
wants to complain about.
and how we would address it.
Right.
Oh, okay, so, and we don't have a policy on that, so he's suggesting that might be.
Something
a
to
good
consider, I
policy to
think, is
have.
what she's saying.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Is what he
and it
said?
wasn't
Okay.
for us specifically. It's
No,
just
no,
in
no,
general.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that right, okay,
Mhm.
something for us to think about.
Mhm.
That was in his legal session this last summer.
Mhm.
So maybe when we have our training, we can
Mhm.
talk about that,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right.
And then
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I have one question. Last session, we talked about copier use. Have you had any chance to follow up on that?
Oh, I think,
On
did I
copy
include
money?
that is that in the packet? I thought, so yeah, so if you turn that page.
That's what the colored chart is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wondered what this was.
So it's,
This is didn't have a title.
that top page. If you go, so this was from Big Sandy.
So it's a calendar.
So it's a calendar. So if you go to Monday and go down to the 29th, where it's 1,405, those copies were made between the 27th, 28th, and 29th. 1,405 copies were made. And then if you go over to Wednesday and down the list, on the 7th, 2,183, there were 2,183 copies made between the 6th and 7th.
Oh, down here.
First she was here and now she's here.
Oh, okay.
So
Do the colors have any? meaning the yellow, or is that just?
No,
Said
just to
building.
differentiate between, so it's,
Okay,
2 columns at a time.
yeah,
yeah,
basically.
And that's only Big Sandy.
Yes, that's off of their copy machine, and then the next page is just some data, how many copies, one page is for Big Sandy, the copies, overage on there.
because they're allowed 1,000 black and white, 1,000 colored before it's over.
Yeah, and then how much theoretically like, how much would come in with patron, how much does it cost to the library? If there's 167 black and white copies over the contract, it costs the library $1.65, but if those are charged, those overage copies are to patrons, and that's just the overage would be that much income. And
This
then
is theoretical.
theoretical, yeah, and then the Fort Benton one. So if you notice that, I hand wrote next to that last column. So in Fort Benton, because we have 3,000 copies covered in black and white, but no color copies covered in the contract. So if we make any color copies, it's charged. So yeah, so in June of 2025, which is leading into summer reading,
Sure.
we made 555 color copies. If it was a patron that had made all of those, then it would be $277.50, which we turned into the county that month, $60.20.
So that's copy money, is that
that's-
handwritten?
Yes, the handwritten column is
It's
copy money,
collected money.
collected monies, yeah.
Okay.
So some months are over and some months are under.
Okay.
Ironically, when I was looking at this, if you look at October of 2025, we were within 30 cents of being even, which is odd. I mean, I don't think we would have somebody came in and made that much, but so like that's how much the total down there is, how much money we have turned into the county as far as copy money goes from June of 2025 through January of 2026.
So that's this fiscal year, basically.
Yes, okay. pretty
So,
much.
but you don't have that for Big Sandy.
Right, so I just turned in for the first time since I've been director, $299 total. Is all that I've gotten.
And does that mean they're not collecting it?
I am not sure what that means. That's what I've been trying to look into.
But you've had conversations.
Yes, I have
With
had.
Darlene, or in conversation with her
Right.
about that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Chatted about.
Okay. Well, thank you for looking into that.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions for Emily on her director report?
I have a question. Somewhere I think I saw that yesterday you were gonna have an open house and I'm not available on Tuesdays.
So, yeah,
So how did that go?
tend to do, it was lightly attended, but it's nice to have it.
And what
open.
did you all do?
It was just an open house, so there
Okay.
was coffee and lemonade and rolls and popcorn out.
Food.
Food,
We
yeah.
should bring some.
Free food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
See you later.
yeah.
Did Geraldine also have an open
On
house?
Monday.
On Monday, they did, and I,
It was different.
And then Big Sandy
and
is
it's
Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Thank you. Very good.
Perfect.
All right.
Any further questions, ladies?
I saw that you had a Pathfinders meeting. Should I know what that means?
That's coming up. That's
Yes,
in our
coming up.
announcement. Yep,
Oh.
so I'll go into that
Youth.
right now.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's us.
Yes, and
Okay.
so we have announcements and dates to remember coming up next. The Pathfinder meeting is our regional meeting of the libraries in our region. Pathfinder is a specific region.
Okay.
And that will be Thursday, May 7th from 9 to 3, and that's at our library in Fort Benton. This is the meeting that I asked if you could all come from the 1 to 3 time, or at least 3 of us,
Okay.
for the continuing ed during that time. I can cover the morning time to be the voting member. But if anyone wants to come to that morning meeting, they're more than welcome to join in as well. We would just have to post that there's more than one of us at that meeting, and probably in the afternoon as well.
So I'm confused by that.
please,
So why does it matter?
just because we're all in the same place at once at the library that we've been
We have a
asked. that
quorum
we
present.
post.
If there's
So it
more
serves
than
at the
2 of
meeting.
us, so
Mhm.
I would like to recommend it's a good idea to post it just to cover our bases because we're
Mhm.
encouraging to
Mhm.
come, so.
Yeah.
So, and so the 1 to 3 though is our mandatory.
Not mandatory, but it would be a
Well,
time where we could fill
Recommended,
our continuing education.
yeah, continuing education.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what will happen if, I don't know what Pat, I should know
Well,
this.
Rick Sloan, our state librarian, a consultant, is here today. Would you like to speak to that, Corey? Have you met Cheryl?
That's why I'm here.
That's perfect.
Hello, I'm Corey. I'm from the State Library. I'm the consultant for the Pathfinder region and the Broad Valleys region. For those of you who are who've been on the board for a while, old news, if you're newer to the board, the state splits the state library splits the state into 6 different regions, called federations, and it's been this way since like the 1920s or 1930s, and they receive some coal severance tax. So it's just some state aid that libraries can participate in by going to these meetings. There's usually, at least the Pathfinder, they're always in Fort Benton because that's most centrally located. The Pathfinder region goes from Fort Benton over to Great Falls and Cascade, all the way up to Cut Bank over to Fort Belknap. Oh no, so it goes all the way to Browning, sorry. It goes a little bit further. 2 reservations, like huge area of the state. I'm here right now because I'm on my way towards Wolf Point, which is not in my area, but I'm helping out a colleague who's out of town. So the meetings usually have a continuing education component. They're geared towards trustees and directors. It's always in Fort Benton, so you guys kind of have an advantage to get that continuing education that's already brought to you. As far as the rest of the libraries in the Federation go, it is required that one board member and usually the director attend these meetings. So you guys just get lucky because you usually have more than one person around or available. And that's just because the trustee is the voting member. Federation meetings, they usually vote on things like the plan of service, which is what to do with that money, which is usually we pay for trainings and we divvy it up per, I think there's 16 libraries in the Federation. So that everybody gets a cut. So then at one point you'll see in your budget this check from the Federation for this amount, and you'll be like, I know what that's from. So when your budget comes around, you'll remember this moment.
So I don't mean to be dense,
No, that's okay. That's a lot.
So our board is automatically a member of this Pathways?
Pathfinder, yeah.
Pathfinder.
So, yeah, it's a regional. So it started because it's a regional kind of network for libraries. So, you guys have a county system, so you have libraries within the county, but like Belt is a standalone, so it's kind of helpful for, that touch point for, there's usually that face-to-face component. You guys meet twice a year in Fort Benton. Other libraries do it virtually online once, and then a retreat once a year. It's just a twice a year meeting. And you, just by going, you are part of it, and you get some financial incentive as a part of it. If you decide to stop going, and you would be ineligible to get that aid. And it depends, it's a coal severance money, so it depends yearly what that dollar amount is.
So, I don't want to misspeak, speak again.
That's okay. Pathfinder, yeah.
Okay.
There's so many different.
Pathfinders is part of the state government.
State
Okay,
library, yep.
okay, state library. Oh, you said that. Okay, yes, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no.
So
glad to see-
primarily the meeting from 9 to 1 is about how to distribute the money.
It's 10 to like noon, and then there's lunch from
Okay.
noon to 1.
Okay,
It's a business meeting. This year, there's usually an update from the state library. This year it's on cooperative service agreements with things like the shared catalog, sort of
Okay.
the more
Okay.
businessy stuff.
Okay.
But there is a trustee who's there as the voting member for the library.
Okay.
But it is not required that all trustees attend.
okay,
And sometimes when a trustee cannot attend, they can send a proxy form saying the director can vote in their absence.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's,
and you want 1 for sure, but 2 is okay. Okay,
bring as many as you want, more than me.
okay, okay.
It's more of me, so.
But we
Not
only
to
get,
me,
as a board, we only get 1 vote.
Okay.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you,
Okay.
Cory,
You're
for
welcome.
all that information.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being
It's
here.
nice so you knew all about
It
this.
is a lot.
I'm sorry, it's been
I
fun.
knew about it, but forgot what.
Okay,
Binder
well,
name was.
the next announcement is our Montana Constitution Roadshow. That's Tuesday, May 12th at 5:30, and that's at the Fort Benton Library. And then all branches of the Chouteau County Library System will be closed on Monday, May 25th, in observance of Memorial Day.
I hate to do this, but tell me what the Montana Constitutional Roadshow is.
Emily, I will divert that to you.
So this came out from the state also, and they're going around. I don't know if it's through the state library, no, it's a different group, and they present a non-partisan history of the Montana Constitution. It's a presentation.
There was an article in the River Press
Mhm.
about it.
Oh.
No, sorry.
So if we want to know, like, get kind of a history lesson, this
Yeah.
would be the thing to come to.
Mhm.
Okay,
It's,
cool.
I've heard from other directors who have already hosted it, and it is kept to an hour. It's very informative, very
And it's open to the
engaging.
public.
Yes, and free. to
Okay,
the public.
well, I
Yep.
might actually get my husband to come to this.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to have a wide variety of folks, ages and
Good, great.
people. It's gonna be at the high school in the morning. Amanda
Oh.
Brown, the Fort Benton, government history teacher.
Oh,
So they're gonna be at the high school in the morning for the kids and then over at the library in the evening.
okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll move into unfinished business, starting with policy review. This is our second reading of the forfeiture of library privileges. I'm under the understanding that our policy committee did not meet. So we're still in the same,
But we have communicated and so, Kim made some suggestions and I responded rather lately to her changes. And so I think that we can, correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, but I think if we have a meeting, we can finalize these
perfect.
because I think we're pretty much there.
Yeah, I'm going to say we go back to a meeting.
Back to policy.
Well, back to policy committee since we haven't done that yet. I've been made aware that our committee meetings could be done better following open meeting laws. So I will ask Emily that it's posted. We have posted our committee meetings, but obviously our agenda would be the policies that are going to be reviewed. Either one of you can take notes or minutes, but we have to have those documented. And we will be allowing for public comment on all further committee meetings.
Well, I wouldn't mind getting some feedback from the rest of the board while we're taking this time, but I think Lisa and I added possibly having a secondary person in case the director is not available, or so just changing the language. That way, I think Lisa disagrees.
I do.
Okay.
I'm a very visual person, so I would like to see that, how you want it written up, and then,
Well,
So-
and
So here's my problem.
okay,
It's sent to me as a PDF and I can't get my PDF program to edit PDF. So if it could be sent to me as a Word document, that would
Microsoft
be
Word.
wonderful, because then I wouldn't have to retype the whole thing. So can you do that, Kim, or can Emily do that? Can somebody do it for me?
I am not really able to do that from my work computer. I don't have Word.
Because you haven't had to do it.
Right.
So you only have PDF? Oh,
To be able to send
Google
it.
Docs, you do Google Docs at all?
She has said that she doesn't.
I
prefer-
do have a Gmail. It's very weird. Sometimes I can get into it because oftentimes what happens when I get into Google Docs, they say you have to have permission. So you have to the person that sent it has to say, I give you permission. And so it gets,
If it's not done in a
Okay.
certain manner.
yeah. So.
can you possibly get it to a Word document?
I
Kim?
think so.
Okay,
Well, and I'd just be interested, because I think Lisa and I would just be interested in a quick, if anyone else has any thoughts on if we should.
and I think what we could do is, email those suggestions to you once we read through it. I cannot Did we not
Is-
print it
is it
out?
the-
It was in
on
last
that?
month's
That's why, okay.
packet.
Right, there was an email.
Is this the one?
There was-
That's not the updated wording. It was included in
Is it just
last-
23?
last month's
it.
month's
It had
packet.
all the yellow in it, right?
Yes, terrible
I'm
yellow.
sorry, that's, I
I
should have
know.
had that out for today.
Well, that's okay. My PDF editor.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
helpful.
Okay,
But for example, like originally it would say the director will respond within 10 business days. And I just said the director or the assistant director will respond and generally change the language. Lisa, I think would rather it just be this stays with the director. I don't know if it really
And-
ties the director's hands, like if we're between directors to have no alternate listed, because I believe the person is an acting director. I would just be interested
I
in
mean, I think
Andy's
we have that
opinion.
set up in
Yeah.
chain of command already, if we ever.
No, and here's my, so just because we didn't have a committee meeting, but I'll tell you why I object to it. It's because oftentimes when you have an alternate in there, then people think that they can go to the alternate.
And instead of
Even
our-
if the directors have been, and if we are between directors, we will have an acting director. We won't really be between directors.
Right.
There will be somebody that is acting as the boss. And so, I mean, I think
You think it's
that,
unnecessary to have
I
that
think
language?
it's unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it gives people an opportunity to say, well, I want to talk to the assistant director then, or go directly to the assistant director instead of, and I just
director.
think it eliminates that, all that.
Or bypassing the chain of command.
Yes,
Exactly.
and then the part that I added was it just says respond within 10 business days from receipt of the request.
Okay.
Because I have found mail to be fickle. Sometimes I get things in 2 days, sometimes I get things in 6 days. I just got a letter from something that was dated in March. I got it yesterday.
Sure.
So the director
Through
will,
this, through the US Post.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, and I know that's extreme, but I think we need to give,
so the director will respond within 10 business days of receipt to the patron.
receipt of the request.
Okay,
The director will respond within 10 business days from the receipt of the request.
Yeah, and then I just did a little more cleanup down below. I didn't understand, as well as our community's implicit norms. I thought, I don't really know what that means. So I just took that out and just said, as set forth by the Library Board of Trustees, comma, including but not limited to appropriate internet use, appropriate computer use, or failure to observe the. Because I don't know what I think that's too squishy. If.
Not clear cut enough.
right.
Mhm.
And I
It's,
think in the past, we've talked about adding it just with the, like, giving the people notification that we're not gonna say you have to not have really bad body odor. We're not gonna list all the things like that. That is an implicit norm, that you do not smell terrible, that you are wearing clothes. Like, we're not
yeah,
gonna list no nudity, no,
right, and I understand
No
now what
using
you're
of-
saying, but I think if we just say including but not limited to, and then we list the ones, because I
Okay.
think. Because one person's body odor is not another person's, but I mean, some,
Like, you think that we'll still have, like, there'll be enough law there to be like, we don't have to tell them, we don't have to
Right.
include this implicit norms, it's understood without
Right.
saying it, okay.
Right,
So can I read this back to you? So-
I'm gonna ask that we actually don't continue having that discussion here and that we do, so we can move the meeting along, that we would move that to.
sure, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Mhm.
We will, I promise. I brought my
Yeah.
calendar.
Gotcha.
I mean, hopefully you're getting less busy, so, yeah.
And you'll notice this also, anyone that wants.
Oh,
to
yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah. We'll communicate with Emily so she can post.
I appreciate it. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
Um,
And which, since we're gonna post this committee meeting, was there another?
Yep, internet. And is that not?
There's
No,
nothing new, it's
no.
just what's in the.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Internet workstation etiquette.
So what is currently on policy is in that policy binder today. And sure, there have been no other changes. This is the first reading. So the public, if they were not aware that we have an internet workstation etiquette policy, they can look that up. It's on the webpage, or they can come request it.
But let's notice it as
Yeah,
part
no,
of the
that's
agenda,
fine.
because as long as we're meeting, we can review it, and if our recommendation to the board is that
Right.
it doesn't need to be changed.
Right, I mean, when I read over it, it looked clear and concise and. But it's our first reading, so
Yep.
if you are already meeting, you can read through it again for us, please, and
Yep.
any recommendations we would appreciate, but if not.
And then there's a third one. We never finished doing the security camera
Yes,
policy
that's correct.
because
We haven't purchased them.
because we haven't purchased any, and
Right.
which leads me, I mean, we can list that as part of the meeting as well, but
It is later.
I don't know if this is the time to
I
bring
think
this
she
up,
meant
but
for the policy committee meeting.
No, I think she's saying you wanna talk about security cameras,
yes,
but I will bring that up later.
okay,
So we'll wait till
Okay.
then,
okay.
but. For security cameras, thank you for bringing that up. I actually would like the policy committee to finalize that before we even consider. Looking into purchasing. I think
So,
having that in place. Or having at least the background of that would help us.
and so I'd like to be efficient, since Kim and I are gonna take time to have a meeting.
Yes, please.
That and include the security camera policy
Yeah,
as
that's-
part of that notice too. So that we're gonna be looking at 3 policies. Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Worth your
I'm on
time.
board.
Yeah,
okay,
Yeah.
good. Thanks, Kim.
I mean,
thank you. Any other, since this is our first reading, is there any other recommendations that anybody has for the policy committee? Do you, Cheryl, at all? Or Nona? Online before we move on?
I'm fine.
Okay. So we will move into the Big Sandy Branch Library gutter and drainage. Is there any report on that? Has there been any change?
She said someone was supposed to come by this week. So I don't have
Wonderful.
any.
So maybe you'll hear on Friday about
Hopefully.
that.
Yep.
And then is there any discussion about our board director goals that we discussed at our last meeting? And if not, that's fine. We'll have our, am I moving too fast?
Yes,
No.
no, less.
Okay, so then I'm moving into trustee opening, and our update would be the closing date, which is June 1st of this year. I don't believe there's been any applicants. Have you heard anything, Emily, at
The
all?
last I talked to Lana at the beginning of last week and there had not been any at that point.
Okay. Other than that, we're anxiously awaiting someone to apply and be a part of our board. We'll move into Highwood survey. Lisa, do you have an update in regards
I
to?
do. I have all of I went around today and people have handed them to me, so I have a lot more. I was just trying to count them. I hadn't done that yet, so I'm not sure but if this is an accurate count, but there's 16. There's 16 here that I picked up. Some of the envelopes may have more than one. I
Sure.
didn't go through the envelopes.
Sounds wonderful.
So, and I did talk to a couple more people and they do hope to, complete the survey. I don't know why it's been so hard, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna give them, well, actually, I'm gonna give you the envelope.
Oh,
I'm gonna give the whole big box of the leftover envelopes and so, so I don't wanna kind of close it out yet.
Sure.
And I don't know about.
It's only
the online.
16, we've gotten 16 responses online.
Okay, so we're moving right along.
Yeah.
So most of these came actually from the post office. And so I did talk to our postmistress and I urged her to remind people that, it's not too late to fill out their survey. And that if she wanted me to drop off some copies, and so I didn't have any copies with me, because I was picking them up on my way here, so I'm gonna drop off some copies in case people come in and want a copy. So,
Perfect. Thank you.
uh-huh.
Emily, did you have anything to add for the survey? Okay. We'll move into I wanted to review the emergency operations plans. Ladies, did you bring this with you by chance? That was given to us by Alex. First, I'd like to we haven't discussed this for a while. So I'd like to bring up security cameras once again. Excuse me. Lisa, you said you had a remark in regards to that.
Yeah, we have gotten, correct me if I'm wrong, Emily, but I believe we have gotten 2 or 3, uh, bids on installing security cameras.
We have received 2.
2, okay. But they were remarkably like about the same amount, weren't they? That's my recollection.
No, I thought they were quite a bit different, yeah.
Oh, were they? Okay, well, at any rate, we've gotten 2 and, I'm sorry, but my recollection is that the one was like 25,000.
Mhm.
And so what was the other one? Do you remember? Yeah,
Can't remember if they're even still.
I thought it depended on the, what they offered in terms of maintenance and so forth. So, at any rate, we're almost at the end of our fiscal year. And so I think that in light of the costs.
Cheryl has them.
Okay.
There's the one. For
Yeah,
25,000.
26 really.
And then this one
Is
the
for 20.
same company.
Oh, that was
This
right.
is-
Oh, so it's difference in kind,
Yeah.
the
mhm.
amount of those services. So we have,
Right, the length of the
there
services.
was one from
There was a,
Rivers.
not from Three Rivers, no. I think
Some,
out of Harbor, it was a place out of Harbor. I did talk to someone, I talked to the belt librarian during MLA, and she asked what is, it's called a blink cameras, and it would be a much lower cost threshold. I have not had a chance, I mean, that was just Friday, we talked about that, so I haven't had a chance to look into that
yeah,
more,
I have
but
those.
there are other options.
Yeah, and so with that in mind, and the cost of, if there's another one, I don't seem to have that one. But I guess I would just suggest, since it's lower on the list of priorities, in the emergency plan, that we just table the purchase of security cameras.
I think the foundation
Until the
offered to
next-
pay for it. It wouldn't be county money.
But then wouldn't we have a monthly fee to continue?
I know, but she said purchase, so.
Right, and I don't remember the
So-
foundation actually saying that they would purchase. I thought we went back and said that we were going to focus on the memorandum of understand, the MOU and the items on that versus being
I-
purchased.
Yeah, I remember discussing the security cameras. I think we
I remember
figured the board would
discussing
have to
it.
come to an agreement before we would purchase.
Right,
Well,
So I don't
anyway,
think cost is an issue.
the point of what I'd like to do is just table this until the next fiscal year. Because we have to get now we know we should get policy in place and then it's so much lower on, there's other things that we need to,
But it's a safety issue for staff.
well, and I guess that's something that we need to discuss. I don't know that it makes sense to do it piecemeal, but I guess we could.
I thought our discussion was to have outdoor cameras at all 3 branches.
Well, I think that was the discussion, but we've heard from some of the patrons at the one.
At Big Sandy, it seemed like a lot had been given misinformation that they were going to be inside. Because to me, the most concerned people did not want indoor cameras in the meeting room, which I don't believe was ever an idea. There's no windows in the meeting room, so even an outdoor camera wouldn't catch anything that happened in their meeting room,
And they were also concerned about audio, which
right?
Montana law already defines.
Yes. Because did you go through the installation of cameras at your
Yeah.
school?
Yes, but you probably know about that too. Montana is a two-party state.
Mhm.
So both parties have to be noticed that they're being recorded. And like Lisa had mentioned before, posting an announcement does cover that, but that's what I remember the Big Sandy complaints were. They were concerned about the audio.
Okay,
And schools tend not to have policy that includes audio.
that makes sense.
Sometimes it's hard to get the cameras that don't have them though.
Right.
At least the functionality, and I think that's one of the things that was talked about with these, is there is the ability to have audio. We can turn it off,
Yeah.
but they do have the ability to have audio, so. I guess, really what I think is that a lot more needs to be looked into as far as what we're gonna do about the security cameras. But, you know, if you wanna revisit it next month, we can.
Yeah.
I
I don't think the
we'll
ability.
have the meeting before next month, right?
Right, well, we have a
So,
draft policy,
Yeah.
from a previous training, I think through Pathfinder, a lot of the policy is when do you turn over recordings? And usually it's if you have a subpoena, like otherwise people cannot get recordings.
Oh, and I
how
think
long you
that's,
keep the recordings.
that's
Yeah,
very
similar to
appropriate.
schools,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I don't think having them have the ability to audio, I mean, we have lots of things in the library that have the ability to do something, we just don't do that. I mean, we have a county car that has the ability to run people over, but we don't. Right? So I think we just trust staff to operate the cameras as
I
they
would-
do everything.
I appreciate that input. But I would like to table until we have our foundation meeting to ensure that that was our conversation.
Okay,
When I looked back on the minutes, I did not see
approval.
exactly. I don't think that was put to a vote or anything. I know they were waiting for us to vote on it, but
And we would have the policy. You would rather the
I
policy
would
was in
rather the
place.
policy was finalized, so we had that clear cut and we could even show that to patrons on this is what is being presented for a security camera.
Mhm.
And then we could possibly move forward that way. So I would say let's have the security camera policy being the policy committee meeting over that.
Okay.
And we'll discuss that at our May meeting, and then that would push us into the next fiscal year anyway on deciding if security cameras are actually going to happen.
Which is a good idea, because then we know we have to budget for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right, well, so, yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay. And Emily kind of answered my other question about the EOP in regards to AEDs. That is our number one. That was the number one recommendation from Alex, and that's why I wanted to revisit that that was her number one recommendation from her assessment of our library branches. So I don't know if that's something we should also look into budgeting for, to have at each branch, or if we wait and see if, the grant comes through, like you were saying, Emily. Is there any discussion about that, ladies, or how you feel? Or if that's even something we should, look into having at each branch?
Oh, the AEDs. How in the school system?
Well, I found the batteries to be the issue when I arrived here. I found the batteries had been expired for like 10 years. No one had checked them.
Mm.
So, and they were quite expensive. We ended up finding a grant to replace them, but took quite a bit of work, you know.
So that's something to consider if we actually do
Mhm,
want
yeah.
to, okay.
But
Kim, you
I
are,
think it's a good thing to have.
yeah,
Right.
and Kim, you've done a lot of grants. Do you have a recommendation on where to look for specific grants on those?
I haven't. I was just thinking if we need to cut down, I mean, Fort Benton's fairly close to the hospital. I'd say it's more
But
Big Sandy.
Fort
and
Benton's already
Geraldine.
have one in place,
Yeah,
from the grant.
yeah.
It would just be. And Big Sandy's relatively close to their medical center as well,
Okay,
so that's something to consider. It would just be
Geraldine.
here, and you would
Okay.
think also, I mean, I know this area has a really good emergency response group, but
Mhm.
a lot of the group lives in the country.
Yes, it's still a
And the
town.
school does have one.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
school has
Hopefully the batteries.
all things to consider. I just wanted to put that on our radar again because we kind of let this go.
Mhm.
And even the security cameras, we haven't had that discussion for a while. So again, I won't have this on our our May meeting, but I would like you all to consider and think about this, and possibly in the next fiscal year, we can look more into looking more through our EOP and possible updates that were recommended to us.
The emergency systems are really good about giving training repeatedly multiple times a year.
Right. Which would be
And I found
necessary.
they did a fantastic job.
Great. Perfect. Any other? Okay, the last thing in our unfinished business is our HR bill. Give me just,
So those, it's in the budget report.
right, I was just gonna, I have that email from, I know it was in the budget report. I just wanted to highlight that Diana and the commissioners worked really hard for me on this and helping me find a way through it. And obviously you can see the cost that we took and what the commissioners took, but I just really appreciated Diana's help in that. And then moving forward, I did ask the commissioners what they would see with us utilizing HR. They were hoping that it would be more of as needed, but I just don't see as that being the best for our library system, specifically with the possibility of a new board chair. I'd like that board chair to be as supported as possible. So I am going to hand out, we will pass those around. These are the support services and the cost of what that would look like. And there's different levels and different tiers. We can have a discussion about this today. Obviously, we'll not make any kind of decision, but I do want us to be thinking about this. It is a cost that we would have to endure because the commissioners are putting that back on our plate. But I, in my position, would recommend that we continue with the West staff. I don't have a recommendation on what tier.
So just to be clear, at
Yes.
this point, Chouteau County has 0 HR department.
No, there's still, excuse me.
So like
Right.
the library is, like we are spurring them to have an outside contractor just on our small section. Huh.
This is the recommendation from commissioners.
I wonder if we should push them a little bit because I mean, surely the sheriff's department has an HR
Well, and
staff.
sure.
I mean, you would think that between the sheriff's department, there would be other HR issues, the county road crew.
I don't have that answer.
Okay.
At this time, but I can look into it, Kim, if you.
Right, and
I can have that
contact them too and just be like,
yeah, you can have that conversation with commissioners, of
Yeah.
course, on,
or just ask, because I think we all know county employees and it's just surprising that there's
Right.
0 HR staff or an organization that big.
Think about it, and she will,
I know I've seen it. but-
yeah, and I address her question. It's just where it is in the budget report.
yes, of course.
So there was, towards the back of the packet, the second to last page, it says page 8 at the top.
Okay. I read it on your computer, it looks so different.
Yeah,
than
right.
Printed.
So are you on page 8? So if you go down, there's a 920 buildings and it says reclass elevator expense. So we were able to take 2 of the elevator repair bills, so that to the total of $13,087.82 and put that into depreciation.
Mhm.
So then, when you look, make sure I remember right.
Oh, that's why it's reclass.
Yes, so it's
Yes.
reclassified. So then if you go just up from that, Cheryl,
Mhm.
up to the 350 professional services. So Fort Benton Library Western Staff Services,
Oh,
1,800, so that's part of the bill. And then in Big Sandy's, it's also under 350.
I did remember seeing it.
Yeah, so on the next page, about 2/3 of the way down, 350 professional services, Big Sandy Library Western Staff Services for 500. So it reclassifying that elevator expense. We were then able to allocate money for that HR expense, yes.
Any other further questions? I don't have anything else to address with that. I just wanted to put this information out there for us to be thinking of since we're coming up on our budget year. Our end of year budget that we need to address. But I would like to have this on our agenda for next time. Possibly as an action item. We can discuss that at a later date, but I would like you all to be looking at this to discuss, to determine where we should move with it.
So in other words, the $3.99, the $4.99, which level is what you're
Mhm.
saying?
Yep. Otherwise, we're in an hourly base and that is what accrues a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of the cost.
So this is much more affordable. Just have a package.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like we put them on what we call a retainer.
Retainer, yeah.
Mhm. And that typically, if you're utilizing them. pays
Right,
off
and
the
then-
cost.
Then it's by month. So then if we do decide we
And
are
in
not,
budget,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
Alright.
you for looking into this.
Yes, of course. We'll move into new business. And our first new business is partners. This is part of our strategic plan. And I'll have Emily give us the overview on that, on how that's moving along.
So the partner system is a collaborative book exchange at the state level. If we are part of partners, it then opens all of our patrons can check out any books from any other patron or from any other partner libraries. Which I do not have the whole list right now, but it is growing. So basically, the easiest way to say it is any books that are in the Great Falls Library, anybody who has a Chouteau County Library card can request a book from there for free. ILL, we on average have 5 ILLs, interlibrary loan books out at a time. The cost of that, we charge people $4 if they would like to receive an ILL. And the cheapest to mail a book is $4.25, and that's if it's under £1, but most books are under 2, which is $4.96. So I went to the resource sharing session at MLA, and so the average cost is $4.50 on that, or not $4.50, $8.50 for the lesser, because back and forth, versus I want to say it's 28 cents per book on the, if you're part of the partner system. So there will be, and I was going to put these numbers together with the budget. There will be a cost. You have to purchase crates, specific crates to use, and then it's a cost per stop. We can do 1 stop a week, and it's either $25 or $35 per. It was a variety as it was presented because it depends on how many people, but we could do both Fort Benton and Big Sandy because it's on that career route versus Geraldine is not. But if we can find somebody who can consistently do that, we would be able to include Geraldine patrons as part of the Fort Benton stop. So I would like to look at that as one of the ways, because then we don't have to buy every book that people necessarily want. So we can expand selection for all of our patrons at really a lower threshold for cost for collaboration, sharing.
I guess
resources.
where I would be most interested, Emily, is if you could have all those numbers for
Yeah,
us.
and that's the plan.
More clear.
Yep.
I'm just a visual person, so that would be super helpful.
So I have a question. This would be the cost of the library, right? The library would have this cost, or would we charge the patron?
No, it would be the library.
Right.
Like
Okay.
the library would play the contract. Yes.
And so the
Yes.
postage costs and the crate costs and all of that would be the library's expense.
Yes.
But if the patron went in and said, hey, I want this book, and you locate it and it's in Alberton, for instance, then you contact them and you
So
pay the
the-
freight.
No, the patron would put it on hold in the system.
Right.
And then the Alberton Library would pull that book, put it into their courier, and it would come. So overall, I mean, yes, currently, yeah, the library would be library costs.
Okay. Okay, so that's another thing that we need to, we need the numbers because of the budget.
Right.
Yeah.
And currently, doesn't the library have agreements with different publishers or basically lease books?
We have one that's a lease,
Yeah.
but then those are just part of the system and would then be checked out just like any other book.
Okay, and then after we have them for a while, we can send them back.
We can, or we can keep them for as
Okay.
long as we want to. There's no limit on that.
Kind of like the old Netflix.
Okay.
And the beauty of Libby is it offers you that at no cost.
Yeah, so that would be another example.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a very high interest in Fort Bend in the Amish Christian fiction books. And there's lots, but like the the Eureka Library has basically, they have the most Christian fiction out of any library in the state. And so they are part of partners. So then people could go on, put those on hold. They will come from Eureka to us as part of that whole system.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Right. Yep.
I've used it in Libby.
All right, any other further questions for Emily on Pathfinder, partners? Thank you for that overview of that. And we'll look forward to the breakdown of the cost on it. We'll move into the director time card signer. Cheryl, I was hoping that you would be willing to work with Kim, as you are the Fort Benton resident right now. You live in Fort Benton, so I was hoping you two could work together in order to.
You currently do it, and because she's going off, you would ask if I would.
Yep. And you can, I would actually ask that you meet with Emily too, so all three of you can discuss the time card, what it looks like, and how, and just to have that easy transition for our next person to be signing off on her time card.
Okay.
If you'd be willing, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely, I think that would be the most efficient.
Perfect. And then I just asked that that could be done by next month. So then if you have questions in the time that possibly you could start next month, and then if you have questions with it.
To work through it, absolutely, great idea. So who will make the contact?
I can send out an email.
Okay, Tuesdays, I'm pretty much tied up the whole day, so.
We might be able to do it over phone too.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll send out an email.
That sounds great.
All right, I appreciate that, ladies. Thank you. That's the end of our new business. So we'll move into public comment items on the, items not on the agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. Please, once again, remember to step up, state your full name, and limit your time to 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Sissy Felton. I'm zoomed in, so I can't step up. But I want to talk a little, I guess, about the cameras. And I had sent out a email to all the board members, and I was requested to contact Steve Gannon. And I really feel that this is a board member issue. That you had a board member went rogue, didn't follow policies. She complex code of conduct at all to start with was bad ethical behavior. So I'd really would like for the board to revisit my emails, whether you will or not, I don't know. And I did reach out to Big Sandy schools, and all of them have policies on cameras. They do have cameras, and the hospitals also. There are policies and no audio. They don't use audio. That's in their policies, and they've sent it's in their handbooks, so everybody's aware of it. And also the hospital. So there's plenty of policies, and there's plenty of people in Big Sandy that are fine with cameras. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sissy. Is there any further public comment on items not on the agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board? All right. We will be closing this meeting. Our next meeting is on May 27th, 2026 at noon. This one is in Fort Benton. May I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second it.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? And that's passed. Thank you all for being here. That's the end of our meeting today.
No,
Thank you.
it's probably been tonight.